The laboratory was dark. Only a few dim lights flickered, throwing long shadows across the walls. The air smelled cold and metallic. It was quiet, too quiet. Somewhere deep in the building, a soft hum of machines echoed, but no footsteps could be heard. In the center of the room stood a glass cage. It was tall and strong, made of a material that shimmered with strange green light. Inside the cage, a woman sat on the floor. She was not human. Her skin had a faint blue glow, and her eyes were large and golden. Her hands were bruised, and her clothes were torn, but she held herself upright. Her breathing was quick and shallow. She looked around nervously, scanning the empty room. Her eyes caught every shadow, every movement of the flickering lights. Even though she was alone, she felt someone or something was watching her. "Why am I here?" she whispered, her voice soft, almost a sigh. She pressed her hands against the glass. Her fingers left faint streaks, but the glass did not break. It was too strong, too solid. She shook her head, trying to clear her fear. Outside the cage, the laboratory was filled with strange machines. Tubes and wires ran along the walls, some sparking occasionally. On a console near the cage, small lights blinked rapidly, showing that the cage was not just a prison, it was a trap. One wrong move could set off alarms, and she could be in more danger than she already was. She tried to remember how she had ended up here. The last thing she could recall was running from shadowy figures that moved too fast, their voices harsh and alien. Then everything went dark. When she woke, she found herself in this cold, empty room. Her stomach growled, reminding her that she had not eaten in what felt like days. But food was not her biggest worry. It was freedom. She needed to get out. She needed to find a way. But the glass cage seemed impossible to break. She tried again, hitting it with her shoulder. The glass did not crack. She screamed in frustration, her voice echoing through the empty lab. Then she heard it, a soft sound. A footstep? No, more like a shadow moving across the room. She froze, her golden eyes widening. The sound came closer. Her heart pounded so loudly she was sure anyone nearby could hear it. "Hello?" she called softly, trying not to make any sudden moves. Silence answered her, but the shadow did not move. It waited. Suddenly, a small panel near the cage opened with a click. A thin beam of light swept across the floor. She flinched. Her mind raced. Was it a trap? Or help? The shadow moved closer. She could now see a figure, a human. He was not tall but strong. His eyes were wide with caution. He did not speak, but his hands were raised slightly, showing he meant no harm. The alien woman tilted her head. Could she trust him? Could he be the one to free her? She had never seen a human before. They looked fragile, yet somehow different. The human stepped closer. He stopped a few feet from the cage, his eyes scanning the glass. His fingers brushed against the control panel. The lights on the console changed. The cage hummed louder. She held her breath. He looked at her, then back at the panel, then at the cage. Finally, he nodded to himself. He pressed a series of buttons. A low vibration ran through the floor. The glass cage shivered, but did not break. Her heart jumped. Could it really be opening? She reached out her hand, touching the glass lightly. The human's eyes met hers. He smiled briefly, a small gesture of hope. Suddenly, alarms blared, red lights flashed. The hum of the cage changed into a sharp, high-pitched sound. The alien woman pulled back, fear rising. The human frowned, clearly surprised. He pressed another button. The cage shuddered violently. She stumbled backward. Bishito, what kept her eyes on him? Then, silence. The alarm stopped. The cage was still closed, but something had changed. A tiny crack appeared near the bottom. The woman's eyes sparkled with cautious hope. Maybe, just maybe, she could escape. The human looked around the room. The shadows seemed to shift. Something else was in the lab. The woman could feel it too. A presence, lurking, waiting. She crouched, ready to run if needed. The human crouched as well, moving slowly toward the cage. He reached out and touched the glass near the crack. It bent slightly under his hand, showing that it could be broken. "Careful," the alien woman whispered. Her voice was shaky, but determined. "They will come back. They always come back." The human nodded. His fingers tightened on the glass. Together they would try to escape. Together they might survive. And then, in the corner of the lab, a shadow moved. A large shape, silent and fast, watching their every move. The alien woman and the human did not see it yet, but it was there, waiting. The cage was just the beginning. The shadow moved closer. The alien woman's golden eyes widened. The figure was not a threat, or at least it did not look like one. It was human. She had never seen one before. They were smaller than her species, but there was something different about him. Something curious and fearless. The human crouched near the cage. His movements were careful, almost cautious, as if the air itself could betray him. His dark eyes scanned every corner of the room, taking in the blinking machines, the tubes, the wires, and the faint green glow of the glass cage. "Are you trapped?" he whispered. His voice was calm, soft, and almost soothing. The alien woman stared at him. Could he understand her? Could she even make him understand? She tried a small nod. Her hand brushed the glass again, near the crack the cage now had. He noticed it. A small smile appeared on his face, a smile that seemed out of place in such a dark, dangerous place. "I think I can help you," he said. She hesitated. Her instincts screamed danger. She had been tricked before, captured before, but something about this human felt different. She decided to trust him. The human examined the cage carefully. Strange symbols were etched into the glass, glowing faintly. He ran his fingers over the smooth surface, touching the symbols lightly. The lights on the console flickered in response. He whispered to himself, "Not like anything I've seen before, but maybe I can..." The alien woman watched. Every move he made was careful, precise. She felt a spark of hope. Maybe freedom was closer than she thought. Suddenly, the hum of the cage grew louder. The green glow brightened. She stepped back. The human's eyes widened. He touched a panel on the wall, pressing a sequence of buttons. A faint click sounded. The glass vibrated again. "Almost," he muttered. "Almost there." The alien woman pressed her hands against the glass. She felt the vibration. The crack at the bottom widened slightly. Could it break? Could she escape? Then, a noise came from the far corner of the lab. A metallic clank, slow and heavy. Both of them froze. Something else was moving. Something big. Something dangerous. The human's eyes narrowed. He did not panic, but his body tensed. He looked at the alien woman and gave a small nod. "Stay calm," he whispered. The shadow in the corner shifted. It was faster than either of them expected. A pair of glowing eyes appeared, watching, waiting. The alien woman's heart raced. She pressed herself against the back of the cage, unsure if the human could protect her. But he did not move away. Instead, he crouched lower, adjusting his position. He studied the cage, then back at the shadow, then back at the cage. His mind was working fast. Every second counted. "Can you move quickly?" he asked. The alien woman hesitated. She had been weak from hunger and fear, but she could move. She nodded. "Ed slightly." "Good," he said. "I need you to stay calm and follow me exactly." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, strange device. It was round, dark, and emitted a faint blue light. He pressed a button, and a soft hum filled the room. The glass of the cage reacted immediately. It shimmered, the crack widening. The alien woman gasped. Could it really be that simple? But she did not question it. She trusted him. The shadow in the corner made a sudden move. The human noticed instantly. His hand shot out, hitting another button on the device. A force field briefly appeared around the cage, shielding them both. The shadow hissed, an alien sound, low and sharp, and retreated slightly. "Now!" he shouted. The cage glass shattered with a sharp crack. Pieces fell silently, as if the room itself absorbed the sound. The alien woman stepped out, her legs weak but steady. She looked at the human. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling. He nodded. "We don't have much time. They will come back." Together they moved toward the exit. The human's eyes were alert, scanning every corner, every shadow. The alien woman followed closely, keeping silent, trusting him completely for the first time in her life. The laboratory was no longer just a prison. It was a trap. The machines started beeping, warning of intruders. Red lights flashed again, brighter this time. Somewhere in the darkness, more shadows stirred. The human moved faster, pulling open a door leading to a narrow corridor. The alien woman stumbled slightly, but caught herself. The corridor was long and dim, with wires dangling from the ceiling and faint green lights guiding their way. "Do you know where we are?" she asked, her voice low. "Not exactly," he admitted, "but I know where we are not, and that's a start." They walked carefully, every step echoing in the silence. The corridor twisted and turned, like a maze. Somewhere behind them, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed. The alien woman flinched. "Keep going," the human urged. "Stay close. Don't stop. The gods, he will find us if we hesitate." Her heart pounded in her chest. She had never felt fear like this before, yet she felt a strange comfort beside him. This human was fragile, yet brave, careful yet fast. Somehow he gave her hope. They reached a junction in the corridor. The human paused, listening. The footsteps had stopped. He looked at her, and for a moment they shared a silent understanding. They were not just trying to escape. They were trying to survive. Then, from the darkness, a soft, mechanical click sounded. The alien woman's heart leapt. The human turned slowly, ready. The shadow from the laboratory had followed them. The chase had begun. The corridor was dark and narrow, its walls slick with moisture. The alien woman's golden eyes scanned every shadow, every flicker of light, as she followed the human. Her heart pounded in her chest, a mix of fear and adrenaline. The footsteps behind them had grown louder, closer, but he kept moving steadily, careful and focused. "Quiet," he whispered, his voice low but firm. "We don't want to draw attention." She nodded, crouching slightly as she moved. Every step made her muscles ache, but she forced herself forward. She had no choice. Freedom was just ahead, or so she hoped. The human stopped suddenly at a junction in the corridor. He pressed his back against the wall, motioning for her to do the same. From the shadows ahead, two figures emerged. Alien guards, tall, armored, and menacing. Their eyes glowed red, scanning the corridor with mechanical precision. The alien woman froze. Her instincts screamed at her to run, but the human raised his hand, signaling her to stay calm. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the small device, the one that had helped break the cage. A soft blue light hummed from it. The guards paused, tilting their heads toward the light. The human whispered something in a language she didn't to understand. The blue light pulsed, and the guards hesitated. He had bought them a few precious seconds. "Now," he hissed. Together they darted to a side passage. The corridor behind them erupted in noise. The guards had recovered and were giving chase. The passage opened into a larger chamber. Strange machines filled the room, blinking and humming. Tubes ran across the floor, and walls were lined with glowing panels displaying alien symbols. The alien woman's eyes widened. She had never seen technology like this before. "We have to hide," the human said, scanning the room. He spotted a shadowed alcove in the corner and motioned for her to follow. She crouched behind him, peering around the edge of the alcove. The guards entered the chamber. Their red eyes scanned the room methodically, their movements precise and cold. The alien woman held her breath, heart pounding. She could see the human's hands tightening around the device. The guards moved closer to their hiding spot. One paused, looking directly at them. The alien woman's body tensed, ready to flee if discovered, but the human pressed a button on the device. A soft shield of light enveloped them, bending the guards' vision. They passed by without noticing them. When the guards were gone, she exhaled softly, relief flooding her. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. He looked at her, his eyes cautious but kind. "A human," he said simply. I'm just trying to survive like you." She tilted her head. "I've never met a human before. You are different." He gave a small smile. "And you're not like anything I've ever seen." For a moment, the tension lifted. They shared a silent connection, a fragile bond forming between them. Two beings from completely different worlds, now forced to rely on each other. But the moment was short-lived. A sudden alarm blared from a nearby console. Red lights flashed violently. The alien woman's eyes widened. "They know we are here!" The human nodded. "We need to move. Now!" He grabbed her hand gently, pulling her toward another exit in the chamber. They ran through winding corridors, each turn more treacherous than the last. Wires dangled from the ceiling, and some floors creaked under their weight. As they ran, she noticed something strange. Symbols on the walls seemed to glow brighter as they passed. They weren't just decorations. They reacted to movement, almost like the building itself was alive. The human glanced at her. "Stay close. Don't touch anything." But it was too late. Her hand brushed a glowing panel. Instantly, the lights in the corridor pulsed, and a mechanical voice echoed, "Intruders detected." The human cursed under his breath. "We triggered something. We have to hurry." He pulled her into a side door just as the main corridor lit up with red scanners. Inside the small room, they paused, catching their breath. The alien woman's chest rose and fell rapidly. Why are they keeping me?" she asked, her voice trembling. He shook his head. "I don't know, but I will help you find out." She looked at him, uncertainty and hope warring in her eyes. "You will help me? Even though I am not from your world?" He nodded firmly. "Yes. I don't know why yet, but I will. We survive together." For the first time, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Someone from another world, someone human, had risked everything to help her. Maybe she could trust him. But before they could rest, a shadow moved across the doorway. The human stiffened, pulling her back into the corner. Through the crack in the door, she saw them, more guards, taller and faster than before, moving silently, hunting them down. The alien woman's golden eyes met the humans. No words were needed. They were in this together, and there was no turning back. The chamber's door slid open slightly, a faint hiss cutting through the silence. They could hear the guards' steps, the hum of machines, the whisper of their own racing hearts. The human held up his device, its blue light pulsing rhythmically. "We can do this," he said quietly, more to himself than to her. The alien woman nodded, determination replacing fear. Together. And with that, they stepped out of the shadows, ready to face whatever waited beyond the next corridor. The first true contact between human and alien had been made, but the chase was far from over. Something bigger, something dangerous was awakening. The human and the alien woman pressed themselves against the cold, metallic wall. The corridor ahead was quiet, but the distant echoes of alien guards reminded them that danger was never far. Their breaths were heavy, but neither of them spoke. Words were unnecessary. Every second mattered. The human peeked around the corner. The hallway stretched endlessly, with red lights flashing intermittently. Shadows moved in rhythm with the machine's hum, creating strange shapes that made the alien woman's eyes dart nervously. "We need a plan," the human whispered. His voice was calm, but there was urgency in it. "Running blindly will only get us caught." She nodded, her golden eyes focused. "Then what do we do?" He crouched down and pointed toward a vent high up in the wall. "We could try the maintenance tunnels. They run all through this building. We get to the roof, then find a ship, or some way off this planet." The alien woman tilted her head. "Maintenance tunnels? Are they safe?" He shook his head. "Not really, but safer than the main corridors." Together they moved carefully, avoiding the lights that occasionally flickered on the floor. Every step was slow and deliberate. Every sound, their own, the humming machines, the distant guards, felt louder in the tense silence. They reached the vent. It was narrow, but the human was resourceful. He pulled out a small tool from his pack and pried it open. A faint hiss of pressurized air escaped, and the alien woman flinched, pressing her hands to her chest. "Careful," she whispered. "This place, it is full of traps." "I know," he said, motioning for her to climb first. "But we have no choice." She wriggled into the vent, her body slim and flexible, moving faster than the human expected. He followed, squeezing through the tight space, the metal walls pressed against them, cold and unforgiving. Every inch of progress felt like a victory, but also a risk. One wrong move could set off alarms, or worse, drop them into a trap. The vent twisted and turned, descending deeper into the heart of the building. Pipes ran along the walls, and small sparks occasionally jumped from exposed wires. The alien woman touched one wire by accident. Sparks flew, and the human reacted instantly, pressing a button on his device. A faint blue light enveloped them, stopping the sparks midair. She gasped. "What is that?" "Protection," he said. "It won't last long, so move fast." They crawled through the vent for what felt like hours, though in reality it was only minutes. The alien woman began to understand the human's resourcefulness. He was clever, careful, and willing to risk himself for her. A strange sense of trust grew between them. Finally, they reached a junction in the tunnels. From here, multiple paths stretched out like a spider's web. The humans studied a small panel on the wall, pressing buttons to reveal a map. Lines lit up, showing which routes were safe and which were blocked. "We take the left path," he said. "It leads to the surface near the hangar. We might find a ship there." She nodded, though unease filled her chest. The left path looked longer and narrower, but it was the only option. They began moving, their hands brushing against the cold walls. Every sound, drip of water, creak of metal, made her flinch. Suddenly the hum of machinery stopped. Silence filled the tunnel, heavier than before. The human froze. "Something's wrong," he whispered. A shadow passed above too. He vent great. They looked up, alarmed. A search drone hovered silently, its sensors scanning the tunnels. The alien woman's heart leapt. "They are looking for us," she whispered. He nodded. "Stay still. Don't breathe too loud." The drone hovered directly above them. A red beam of light scanned the vent. The alien woman pressed herself against the wall, her golden eyes closing in fear. The human adjusted his device, and a faint shield of blue light flickered over them, bending the beam away. The drone paused, confused, then moved on. The alien woman exhaled shakily. "That was close," she said. Too close, he agreed. We need to move faster. They continued through the tunnels, their pace quickening despite the tight space. The vents led to a maintenance hatch, which opened into a large, abandoned hangar. Ships of various sizes lay scattered, some damaged, others fully functional. The alien woman's eyes widened. She had never seen so many machines in one place. This way, the human said, leading her toward a smaller ship at the far end. Its hull was sleek and untouched, perfect for escape. But as they approached, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the hangar. The guards had found them. The human grabbed her hand. "Run!" he shouted. They sprinted toward the ship. The alien woman stumbled, but he caught her, keeping them both moving. The guards shouted in their alien language, but they were far behind. Finally, they reached the ship. The human pressed a sequence of buttons on the console, and the hatch opened with a hiss. They slipped inside just as the guards arrived at the hangar doors. The alien woman collapsed onto the floor, breathing heavily. "You saved me," she said, her voice trembling. The human shook his head. "We saved each other. But this isn't over. Not yet." He pressed more buttons, starting the ship's engines. Lights blinked on the control panel. The hangar doors began to open, revealing the dark sky outside. The alien woman looked out. Stars stretched endlessly above, and for the first time, she felt a spark of hope. They might just survive this. But somewhere in the shadows, the sound of footsteps continued. More guards, more threats, more dangers waiting for them beyond the hangar. The human looked at her. "Ready?" She nodded. "Ready." And with that, the ship lifted off, carrying them away from the prison, but straight into the unknown. The escape plan had begun. The ship's engines roared to life, shaking the hangar as the human guided them out. Outside, the dark sky stretched endlessly, dotted with distant stars. The alien woman pressed herself against the seat, her golden eyes wide. She had never flown a ship before. The sensation was thrilling, but fear pulsed through her veins. "We're not safe yet," the human said, gripping the controls tightly. "They will follow." She looked at him. "Follow? Already?" He nodded. "Yes. They will never let anyone escape easily. Not her. Not us." Suddenly, a red blip appeared on the console. The human's eyes narrowed. "They found us. Get ready." The alien woman's heart raced. She watched the darkness ahead, scanning for any sign of pursuit. Then she saw them, shadowy ships emerging from the hangar's edge, their lights glowing like angry eyes in the void. The human swerved the ship, dodging the first shots. The weapons fired streaks of red light, cutting through the blackness. Sparks flew across the windshield as lasers struck the hull. The alien woman grabbed the edge of her seat, her breath shallow. "Hold on," the human shouted. He maneuvered the ship with skill, weaving between debris and old structures that jutted out from the planet's surface. The alien woman's eyes followed every movement, feeling a mix of fear and exhilaration. The pursuing ships were relentless. More appeared from the darkness, surrounding them in a tight formation. Their engines glowed brighter, faster, stronger. Escape seemed almost impossible. "We can't outrun all of them," the human muttered under his breath. "We need a plan." The alien woman's mind raced. "There's a canyon ahead," she said, pointing. "If we fly low, through the rocks, they might not follow." He glanced quickly. The canyon was narrow, jagged rocks rising like teeth. "It's risky. One wrong move and we crash," he said. "I trust you," she whispered. He gave her a small nod. "Then here goes nothing." The ship dove toward the canyon. The rocks loomed closer and closer, scraping the ship's hull. The human twisted the controls with precision, narrowly avoiding collision. Behind them, the pursuing ship struggled to follow. One slammed into a rock and exploded, a brilliant flash in the dark sky. The alien woman gasped, a mixture of relief and fear. "Is it over?" The human shook his head. "No, they'll come again, always do." A sudden alarm blared inside the ship. He checked the console. "One of their ships is still tailing us faster than the rest. We need to lose it before it reports our location." She leaned forward. "What if we fly into the storm? The electric clouds over the northern ridge?" He frowned, considering it. "It's dangerous, but it might work. Their sensors can't see through the storm, and we could get a few hours of cover." "Do it," she said, her voice steady now. Fear had turned into determination. The human adjusted the course. The ship shot toward the northern ridge, dark storm clouds swirling around them. Lightning flashed, illuminating the jagged peaks. The wind howled, shaking the ship violently. The alien woman gripped the armrests, her hair whipping around her glowing face. The pursuing ship hesitated at the edge of the storm, scanning the lightning-filled sky. Another shot fired, but the human dodged, weaving skillfully through the flashes. The storm was chaotic, but it was their chance. Inside the ship, the human and alien woman worked in unison. He piloted, she monitored the sensors, calling out threats before they became dangers. They moved faster than either had imagined. Possible, a perfect team forged by necessity. Finally, the tailing ship lost them, disappearing into the storm. The alien woman exhaled deeply, relief washing over her. "We did it," she said softly. The human didn't smile. He was tense, eyes on the horizon. "We bought some time, but it's temporary. They know we're alive now." She looked out the window. The planet stretched below, dark and beautiful, with jagged mountains and glowing rivers. "Then we keep going," she said, determination shining in her eyes. "We survive, together." He glanced at her, a small smile breaking through his tension. "Yeah, together." But even as they soared through the storm, they couldn't shake the feeling that more danger waited ahead. Shadows in the clouds, blinking lights in the distance, whispers in the hum of the engines. They were never truly alone. The chase had ended for now, but the war for survival was only beginning. The storm outside began to fade, leaving the sky dark and quiet. The ship glided over jagged mountains, its engines humming steadily. For the first time in hours, the alien woman allowed herself to breathe normally, yet her mind raced with questions. Questions about her imprisonment, about the human who saved her, and about what waited beyond the horizon. The human sat at the controls, eyes focused on the dim display. He had not spoken for several minutes. The silence between them was heavy but not uncomfortable. It was a pause in the chaos, a moment to think, to understand. Finally, she broke the silence. "Why? Why was I in that cage?" Her voice was soft, almost fragile. "Who are they, and why do they want me locked away?" The human hesitated. He had no easy answers. He had only found her by chance, and the truth of her situation was more complex than he could imagine. Yet, he wanted to help. He took a deep breath. "I don't know everything," he said slowly. "But I know this. You were captured for a reason. Something about you. They feared." The alien woman looked at him, her golden eyes searching his face. "Feared? Me? Why?" He shook his head. "I don't know. But whatever it is, it must be important. I can feel it. They wouldn't risk holding someone like you unless you mattered, unless you could change things." She pressed her hands together, her mind racing. Memories from before the capture flashed, flashes of strange landscapes, of people she had trusted, and then the sudden darkness of the cage. Something in her memory clicked, a detail she had ignored until now. "They were looking for something," she whispered. "Not just me, but something I carry." The human leaned closer. "Something you carry? What do you mean?" She hesitated, then spoke carefully. "A device, or knowledge. I don't fully understand it myself, but it is why they captured me. And it is why they are hunting us now." The human's eyes widened. "Hunting us? Then we're not just escaping, they want it back. Whatever it is." She nodded. "Yes, and it's dangerous. If they get it, everything will change. Not just for me, but for your world too." The human swallowed hard. The weight of her words sank in. He had thought they were just running from alien guards, from cages and lasers. But now the stakes were far higher. They were no longer just survivors. They were protectors of something powerful, something that could tip the balance of life itself. "Then we have to keep it safe," he said firmly. "No matter what." She looked at him, a mixture of fear and trust in her gaze. "But how? They are everywhere, faster, stronger, and better armed. We can't fight them all." He smiled faintly. "We don't have to. We have to be smarter. Use what we have, move fast, and trust each other." The alien woman nodded slowly. For the first time, she felt a glimmer of hope. She had been alone for so long, trapped and afraid. Now, with this human, she felt like she had a chance. Suddenly, the ship's sensors beeped loudly. The human jumped, glanced, at the display. "We're not alone," he muttered. "Something is out there, bigger than before." The alien woman looked at the screen. A shadow moved in the distance, massive and ominous. It was no longer just the small ships chasing them. It was something larger, more powerful. Its outline was barely visible in the darkness, but its presence was unmistakable. "They've sent a larger force," she said, fear creeping into her voice. "Something ancient, something dangerous." The human nodded grimly. "Then we have to keep moving, and we have to find answers before they catch us." For the next few minutes, they flew in tense silence, each lost in thought. The storm had passed, but a new storm was rising, a storm of truth and danger. Finally, the alien woman spoke again. I know where we need to go. He looked at her, curiosity and hope mingling. Where? There is a place, she said, her voice steady. A sanctuary, hidden. My people used it long ago. If we reach it, we can understand what I carry and why they fear it. The human nodded. Then that's our next stop. We survive, find the sanctuary, and figure out what we're dealing with. She glanced at him, her golden eyes reflecting both fear and determination. Together, she said. Together, he confirmed, tightening his grip on the controls. As the ship soared into the darkness, leaving the jagged mountains behind, a sense of purpose replaced the panic that had driven them. The revelation of what she carried had changed everything. No longer were they just running. They were on a mission that could decide the fate of worlds. But the shadows behind them were relentless. The larger force moved closer, its shape growing more defined in the ship's sensors. Whatever was coming was fast, powerful, and merciless. The alien woman and the human exchanged a glance. They both knew one thing: this world as only the beginning. The revelation had shown them the truth, but it had also revealed the danger waiting ahead, and somewhere in the darkness the hunters prepared to strike again. The next chapter of their journey had begun. The ship flew silently through the dark expanse of space, gliding past glowing nebulae and distant stars. The storm below had faded, leaving only the endless blackness of the galaxy. The alien woman pressed herself against the seat, staring at the stars, her mind racing with thoughts of the sanctuary she had spoken of. The human sat beside her, hands still steady on the controls. He had grown quiet over the last few minutes, but there was a calm determination in his eyes, a determination that reassured her. Together, they had survived impossible odds. Together, they had escaped the cages, the guards, and the relentless chase. "Do you think we'll make it?" she asked softly, her voice almost a whisper. He glanced at her, a faint smile appearing on his face. "We will. If we trust each other, we'll survive. We just have to keep moving." She nodded. Trust. That was what had grown between them. From fear to cooperation, to reliance, and now to something stronger. She had depended on him to survive, and he had chosen to stay with her, despite the danger. The ship's sensors beeped suddenly, breaking the calm. The human leaned forward, eyes scanning the display. "We're close," he said. "The sanctuary is just ahead, but it won't be easy." The alien woman's eyes narrowed. "Not easy?" He shook his head. "It's hidden, protected. We'll need to navigate carefully to avoid detection." The sanctuary appeared below, a massive structure carved into the side of a rocky, isolated moon. Its architecture was ancient, with glowing symbols that pulsed faintly in rhythm with her heartbeat. The alien woman's eyes widened with awe. She had not expected it to be so beautiful, so alive. "Follow me," the human said, adjusting the ship's course. "We'll land quietly." The ship descended slowly, weaving between jagged cliffs. Sparks flew as the hull scraped against the uneven surface, but the human skill kept them steady. The alien woman's heart pounded in her chest as she watched the sanctuary grow larger, more detailed, with each second. Finally, the ship touched down in a hidden alcove. Dust and small rocks scattered as the engines powered down. Silence fell, broken only by the hum of the ship. The alien woman exhaled deeply, relief and wonder mixing in her expression. "We made it," she whispered. The human nodded, turning to face her. "We did, but we're not safe yet. This is just the beginning." They stepped out of the ship, the cold air of the moon brushing against their skin. The sanctuary was massive, with glowing symbols etched into its walls. Strange plants grew along the edges, shimmering with faint blue light. The alien woman reached out to touch one, marveling at the life here. "This place," she said softly, "it's a refuge. My people, they built this long ago, to protect what I carry, to protect knowledge, power." The human looked around, taking in the beauty and danger simultaneously. "Then we have to protect it too," he said firmly. As they explored, they found a chamber deep within the sanctuary. Ancient devices hummed softly, their energy flowing in pulses like a heartbeat. The alien woman approached one, placing her hands on its surface. Lights flowed across her fingers, connecting her to the sanctuary. "This is it," she whispered. "This is why they feared me. The knowledge, the technology. It could change everything." The human watched her, a mix of awe and respect in his eyes. "Then we guard it," he said. "Together." She looked at him, her golden eyes meeting his. "Together," she repeated, a smile forming despite the exhaustion and fear. For a moment, they allowed themselves to feel relief. The chase was over, for now. The sanctuary would protect them, and they had each other. But even in this moment of calm, they knew danger still lurked. The alien forces that had hunted her would not stop. Somewhere out there, shadowy figures prepared to strike. Again. Yet here, in this sanctuary, they had a chance. A chance to rest, to plan, to survive. The alien woman turned to the human. I never imagined I would find friendship, trust, not after everything I've lost. He smiled, a warmth in his eyes that reached her heart. You're not alone anymore. We'll face whatever comes next, together. She nodded, feeling a strength she hadn't known she possessed. In the human, she had found more than a rescuer. She had found an ally, a friend, someone who understood that survival meant more than just escaping. Together they sat quietly, gazing at the stars outside the sanctuary's walls. The galaxy stretched infinitely before them, full of danger and wonder alike. The human broke the silence softly. This is only the beginning, but as long as we have each other, we'll survive anything. She smiled, hope and determination shining in her golden eyes. Then we are ready. And as the sanctuary hummed around them, the two of them, human and alien, sat side by side, bound by trust, courage, and the promise of a future they would face together. Outside, the galaxy waited, full of dangers, full of mysteries. But for now, they were safe. For now, they had each other. The story of escape had ended. The story of trust, hope, and survival had just begun.